What's up my little pickle doodles, and welcome to the first video of It's Antonia's Upcycling. This video will be a video a lot of people have waited for. It will be the one and only upcycling of my designer shoes. This was actually one of my most viral videos on Instagram. I think it hit like more than 9 million views, and there's so many people asking me for the tutorial, and yes guys, I'm finally doing it, alright? I'm sorry mom, I didn't do my bed, I was too lazy. Just ignore, alright? Thanks. Usually I would do this a little differently and show you live how I did it and tell you step-by-step tutorial, but this time, because I've already sewn these boots, I will be playing the video next to me right here, and I will tell you step by step on how I did it. I hope I do it very clear, that it's very understandable, because I do know sometimes I forget steps to tell you. Sometimes in my head it's just like, you know what to do, and anyway, I'm just a really bad explainer, but let's start! About the ingredients. The first thing you will need is some black leather fabric. I had some rests already at home, but you can basically buy them anywhere in store. They were faux leather, so not real leather. And luckily they were quite similar to the boots I got. You will also need shoes for the base. This is the one I got. I got them for like €5 on Vinted or something. You can make it however you want, but me personally, I really like when the heel is very thin and the front part is very, I lost the word, but you know what I mean. You will be needing a lot of eyelets. I know Prim has them, but I think I got mine from Amazon. I do know the Amazon quality is a little less than the ones from Prim. Prim has really good quality though, so I would recommend taking those, but I was just, you know, I was saving some money. So the next thing you will need is a hole punching machine. I also got mine from Amazon. It was like €10, so it was basically very cheap. I can link it here, but notice that this one isn't a really good one. And let me tell you, when I punched all these bloody eyelets in my shoe, I couldn't move my hands the next day. My muscles of my hands were sore after this whole boot. You have to know that you have to do 2 shoes. Not only one, you have to do 2 shoes. I do recommend you buying a proper one. It's a very cheap option if you're trying to save money, but honestly, it's an investment. So when I'll do this the next time, I'll definitely get a proper one. Just learn from my mistakes. You will also need some cord, so plan in around 3 meters because you need them both for the shoes and the top and the bottom part. You probably also want to create a little bow at the end. Basically take any cord. I used black waxed cord. Honestly, I think it could also look cool if you put like a color in there, like green or orange. Blue cord, I think that could look really cool. Can someone do this please, because I'm too lazy to do this again. The first thing you will do is take your shoe and start drawing dots on your shoe. Usually there's a seam at the back of the shoe, so it's good to start maybe ½ a centimeter next to the seam, because if you punch a hole on this seam, first thing is you might open the seam, and also it's very hard to go through them because the layers are so thick that it just might break your machine and your hand will hurt, you know, so just don't do it. You will start by 0.5 centimeters away from the seam in the back and then start drawing dots to the rim of the shoe. The distance from these dots will be 1 centimeter away from the rim, and the distance from the next dot will be 1.2 centimeters. You will be doing this around the whole shoe, and if it doesn't add up at the end, because I think mine didn't, the last 4 dots I made them a little smaller or wider, it depends, so just so it matches and it adds up, because you won't see it. Step 2, take the machine and everywhere where you drew the dots, punch a hole in there. Try to place the machine very much in the middle of the dot you made, because if you don't do it, you will see it. Try to work very precise there, then it will look good. Step 3. Take your eyelets and fill up all the holes you just punched with the eyelets. It should look like this. Step 4, cutting out your fox leather. The rectangle will be the height of your boot. Mine was probably about 50 to 40 centimeters times the size of your circumference of the boot rim. But don't forget to add a few centimeters because you will need this as seam allowance on the side and also on the top. If you don't want the upper part of the boot dropping down, a thing you can do is you can put fusing on there, very stiff fusing, and iron it on there. But you have to notice that if you do so, it might happen that the leather might break because it's very sensitive on heat. So it might rip and you just have to be very careful on this. Step 5, you can already start sewing. So fold your fox leather piece in half and then sew it by 1 centimeter. What I did, but this is an option, you can also fold the seam allowance then to the side, seam again over it, just that it looks very neat. But this is actually a really good option because if you're wearing the boots, you won't feel the seam allowance, so it has to do something with comfort, you know. Step 6, you cut some kind of wave into the hem of the boot you just created, but make sure that it matches your shoe because my heel is very tiny, so the wave doesn't have to be that extreme. But obviously if you have a very high heel, you have to cut a very sharp wave. Now it might get a little complicated because you will be folding in the hem of the wave you just created by 1.5 centimeters. And this is a little tricky because due to the wave, it's a little hard to, squish in the fabric. So it might get a little wrinkled, but just make sure that it looks very clean from the outside. Use pins because this will definitely help. Seam over this part you just fold in by 1 centimeter with the sewing machine. Also do the same thing at the top hem. So fold it in by 1.5 centimeters and sew over it by 1 centimeter. With the bottom part you will draw dots on there again, exactly how you did it on the shoe. Do it by 1.2 centimeters. That's what we did on the shoe. I just do it all around the fabric. So this is a very important thing because the holes have to match up with the holes on the shoe, because if it doesn't, you will see it and it just won't work out. So you have to work very precise here as well. You can check it by holding the fabric part on top of the shoe and see if all the holes matches up. And if they do match up, you can start putting the holes in there. And if you punch all the holes in there, I know your hands will be bleeding. You can start putting the eyelets in there. By now you probably know how, because you've done this on the shoe already and it's just takes a lot of time. If you punched all the eyelets in there on the bottom part, you can repeat the same thing for the top part. And if you finish this, guys, you're almost at the end. I know it took a lot of time and a lot of nerves and a lot of hand cramps, but you're finally there, okay? If you've done the other shoe already. If not, you will have to do the same thing for the other shoe. Then the last thing you will have to do to finish this is take your cord and then go through there, start by the back of the shoe and go through there in loops, through the shoe and through the fabric part. And do this all around until you're back at the back. Back at the back? And then you can tie a little bow at the back. It will look cute, let me tell you. Now is the time to repeat the whole process to the other shoe. And if you've done this, guys, you've created the most beautiful, most gorgeous and insanely fancy shoe of all time. If you wear them, people will tell you at the streets where you got them from, because they're so cool. Except when you live in Germany, because people will just stare at you and look at you weirdly, because people don't compliment you here. Alright guys, that's it with the tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it and have fun recreating the idea. And don't forget to send me photos, because some people on my Instagram already sent me photos recreating the shoes and it's so fun! I love seeing this, so I'm very happy if you sent me some photos. I would be also very glad about some support, so leave a like, a comment, maybe a follow even, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye!